A city in Louisiana wants to boss around a Class 1 company, and that's simply not happening. It's time for another episode of Bells and Whistles. Hello everyone, Bill Wilson, Editor-in-Chief of Railway Track and Structures Media, with a look at the top news stories we were following the week ending November 19th. Chicago leaders got together on November 16th to celebrate the completion of a major milestone for the CREATE project. Officials participated in a ribbon cutting at the Metra Canadian Pacific Crossover Upgrades project. The project has minimized Metra and freight train delays by installing 5 crossovers and associated signaling on the Metra tracks serving the Milwaukee District West Line and Canadian Pacific in Franklin Park. This project was funded by Metra at the cost of $14.5 million and is the 31st project completed out of the 70 that are part of the CREATE program. Back in 1967, the 2nd Avenue subway extension in New York City received the green light after voters approved $2.5 billion in transportation improvements. Tunnel construction between East 110th Street and East 120th Street began, but activity was put on hold during New York City's financial crisis in the 70s. Officials are hoping the job will now be finished, with President Biden signing the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill on November 15th. The 2nd Avenue subway still needs to be extended to East 125th Street. Federal grants were applied for 2 years ago, but have not been authorized by the U.S. DOT. The MTA is expected to receive $10 billion over the next 5 years, and a portion should go towards the completion of the 2nd Avenue subway extension. Railroad tracks at the Port of Vancouver have been hit with heavy rains and mudslides, marking the second time in less than 5 months both of Canada's rail carriers have had tracks damaged in British Columbia. According to Canadian National, crews were waiting for conditions to stabilize before beginning work. The Class 1 was monitoring the area and would make the call when it was safe to do so. The track closures are near Cheam View and Hope, which are about 80 miles east of Vancouver. Mudslides and flash flooding in British Columbia also caused a train derailment on November 14th. Bossier City, Louisiana is not the boss when dealing with railroad property, and Union Pacific let the City Council know that earlier this week. The Class 1 railroad wants the Shed Road at-grade crossing to close and also is calling for the removal of a roundabout that has been proposed for the Walter O. Bigby carriageway. The ultimate goal is to construct a railroad overpass. Union Pacific sent a letter to Mayor Tommy Chandler saying if the plan was not to close the crossing, the Class 1 company would require a review of the impact to the railroad, which would take up to 3 years. The city currently has a $34 million project in the works, and delays could lead to cost overruns with the contractor. Well, that's a look at the top news stories we were following the week ending November 19th. For the latest news, go to www.rtnds.com. You can also find us on social media. We are on Facebook and Twitter. Have a great weekend, everyone.